Welcome to MarcusG.tv. I am Chef Marcus Giuliano, and I am a chef on a mission. Today's mission is nutrition. You know, it's right between Easter and Mother's Day, and it's really, Mother's Day is probably the busiest day in the restaurant business, hotel business, especially Mother's Day brunch. We just got done with Easter brunch. And I want to talk to you today about the worst foods on a typical brunch menu. Now, don't get me wrong, not all places partake in this style or these types of foods, but more and more places do than don't. The good news is you can find a lot of places that take care and really take the time to source proper ingredients and really care about what they're buying and what you're eating. So here's my list of worst brunch foods. First thing is eggs. You know, most eggs are still factory farms. Chickens are still shoved in cages. They're still debeaked. They're still pumped with a bunch of food they're not supposed to be eating, under a lot of stress. Very inhumane and very unhealthy eggs. First of all, eggs have a lot of fat to begin with, okay? Have a lot of fat. I personally don't eat eggs. I haven't eaten eggs in years. I don't give eggs to my kids. I just don't believe in the whole ethics and morals and this whole idea of using female chickens to mass-produce eggs, okay? I serve at my restaurant, but I take very care of the ones we buy. They're all cage-free and really, really high-end. Basically, there's a direct correlation between the price you pay for a dozen of eggs. There's a reason why eggs are $1 or $2 a dozen versus $6 to $8. The higher you pay for eggs, the better life the chickens have. That's what you're paying for. You're paying for the more humane and more space and better life of the chickens, and the more nutritional value of the chickens. So that's the bottom line. Most restaurants don't care about this. Most hotels, I mean, the worst place to possibly eat brunch is going to be at a hotel, okay? Because these resorts, these hotels, I've worked at some really nice ones, but they're serving hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, and they're not gonna go to a small local farmer and say, I need 500 dozen eggs. It just doesn't happen. They're gonna call their vendor and buy, you know, maybe a semi better egg, or maybe they're not. Maybe they're just going to buy run-of-the-mill cheap eggs. And you go to a lot of these websites, a lot of these resort hotel websites, and do a great job with greenwashing and saying, oh, we support local farms and this and that. And yeah, sure, they're buying a few things from local farms, but when you're serving 2, 3, 500, 1,000 people 3 meals a day, every day of the week, the small local farms, they're not buying their mainstay of foods from small local farms. So eggs are #1 on the list. Second is bacon. You know, it's really hard to get high quality bacon. First of all, most pigs are raised inside buildings. They never see daylight until the day of slaughter. They mostly have pneumonia. They're pumped with antibiotics. They're in very inhumane conditions. It's extremely hard on a mass scale to buy pork products that are raised on pastures, how they're supposed to be raised, or raised in the forest. It's very hard to find these. And then on top of it, they add nitrates in, and nitrates form into nitrosamines, which then are linked to cancer. Well, it's just all processed meats. So bacon's another thing on the list. Sausage falls right in that same category. Bacon, sausage, pork products. Next is pancakes. Pancakes or waffles. Do you know that a lot of pancake mixes out there still have trans fats in them? I mean, you can walk in the store and buy Bisquick, and it's still loaded with trans fats. More trans fats per serving than the government says you should be consuming in a day that are safe to consume. Now, not all pancake mixes are that, because there's a more awareness on trans fats, hydrogenated fats, partially hydrogenated fats. So that is, you know, that's getting much safer. But still, when you look at the ingredients, they're using soy oil, which uses hexane gas to press it. They're using genetically modified soy. I mean, there's no guarantee. They're using all kinds of preservatives, chemicals, white flour, and artificial flavorings. So it's really not, you know, and believe me, these hotels, these larger breakfast places, they're not saying, oh, let's take real eggs, let's take real whole grain flour, let's take, you know, baking powder and make our own pancake mix. They're not doing that. They're opening bags. I've seen it happen time and time and time again. And guess what goes with the pancakes and waffles? Pancake syrup. Okay, maple syrup is at an all-time high in price. Wholesale costs like $70 a gallon. Okay, that's what I pay for it at my restaurant, and the price is now going up again because the maple syrup crop this year was terrible, and the Canadians dictate the maple syrup price because they produce 80% of the world's supply of maple syrup. So they're the ones who jack the prices up and set the standard. So most restaurants aren't paying $70 a gallon, okay? There's only 128 ounces in a gallon. That means they're paying like 60 cents, 65, 70 cents an ounce. So you get 2 ounces, that's over $1 on the plate. That's a big food cost when you're paying, I mean, what do pancakes cost? You go to IHOP, what do they cost? 7, 8, 9 bucks? 10 bucks? That's a major, major price factor when a restaurant, a food service operation factors in over $1 just for the syrup, okay? So what is pancake syrup made out of? You guessed it, high fructose corn syrup for a typical ingredient in pancake syrup, and then flavorings. So you have to be very, very, very careful. And even when they say they are using real maple syrup, sometimes it's blended with other things. It's not, 100% maple syrup. Next would be croissants, danishes and pastries. A lot of these places are still using inferior trans fats and cheap oils to make pastry items. It's like the soda industry, or when they switch over from like corn syrup to using real sugar, and they're acting like they're doing this big, like doing you a big favor by not using corn syrup. Same thing with pastries. They act like, well, we're not going to use trans fats, but we are going to use real butter. Well, what is real butter? What kind of real butter are they using? Butter's not a much better, I mean, it is a better option than a trans fat, because trans fats don't break down in your body. They have really serious problems. But I mean, butter's pure fat anyway, and it's saturated fat, and it's coming from an animal. So, it's better to get a real butter croissant, but butter is expensive, and a lot of places just don't make real butter croissants or real butter danishes. It's getting rare and rare to see that happen. A lot of bakeries don't do that. Now, some of the smaller places do, and they pride themselves, and which is better, but it's not the best option. And did you know a lot of last food on the list here is butter alternatives. A lot of these places don't use like a real high quality oil when they make eggs, or when they put oil on the grill to cook pancakes or something. They're using like these butter alternatives like Swirl, which are really like soy oil and corn oil that are really loaded with chemicals and flavorings, and it's really not at this point or even a real food. So, what do you do if you want to go out for a good brunch? Here's what I would do. I would look on a website like Real Time Farms, REA, Real Time Farms, and look at places, because realtimefarms.com, they hyperlink restaurant menus to the actual source of all the farms. It's a very transparent way of seeing where a restaurant's food comes from. And if you look on the list, there's a lot of phenomenal restaurants on there that are doing a great, great job, that are buying from small local farms, that are doing the right thing, that really care about the environment, care about the health. You can go there. You can also go to the Green Restaurant Association, dinegreen.com. Okay? They would have also a higher quality of restaurants that care about the environment, because when you're on dinegreen.com, if you're listed on there, they do an audit of your food. They swipe your invoices. They can call your vendor and just swipe a month, 2 months of your invoices and make sure you're buying the food you're supposed to be buying that fits the green criteria. And a lot of it is buying organic food, supporting local farms, buying sustainable choices in food, whether it's seafood or meats or whatever it is. And a big part of their criteria is having a large vegetarian and vegan selection on the menu, which is a phenomenal way to help the environment. So those are the two sources I would use. Now, the last time I went to brunch, I went to a place in Brooklyn. I went to a place that offered all vegan selections, and they had whole grain pancakes, and it was a little more pricier, but of course you get what you pay for. And it was a phenomenal brunch. I forgot the name of the place, but there's so many places, especially in Brooklyn, that are all vegan for brunch, all vegan restaurants. Really awesome. You can't even tell the difference. They're making you tempeh bacon. They're making you things. You can't tell the difference. At my restaurant for brunch, of course, we do the eggs and pancakes, whole grain organic pancakes, real maple syrup, real wild blueberry compote, sweetened with maple syrup. But at this other one, I lost track of what I was saying here. But the place that we went to, they had like real real food. Oh, tofu. We make tofu scramble. We make organic tofu scramble at my restaurant alongside of the eggs, and we sell a lot of them. Same thing when you go to a vegan place. They're going to have like an egg alternative. They're going to have a lot of alternatives. You cannot tell the difference. And what's the #1 food for brunch? Fruit. Fruit would be it. I'd be happy with a big bowl of fruit for brunch. Send me to a place, give me a big bowl of fruit, and that's it. Now, of course, brunch is one of those things where, you know, unfortunately, it's just an unhealthy meal to begin with the premise of the foods that are coming up, whether they're organic or non-organic, or ethical or non-ethical. You know, bacon's still bacon to a certain extent. It still has pork fat. It's still saturated. It still comes from an animal. Eggs are still eggs. But if you're trying to eat healthier, then you're going to really want to source out a healthier place. But really, for me, go vegan and just give me a bowl of fruit and I am happy. You know, if I can get fresh squeezed orange juice, where they're actually squeezing it fresh right then and there and non-pasteurized, then that's really the ticket. That's very, very, very few places are doing that, but there still are some places out there. So, hope that helps you when you take mom to brunch or when you go to brunch yourself. Because I've seen a lot of really nasty things happen in the... I've worked at hotels where we do, you know, 5, 6, 7, 800 for brunch, 1,000 for brunch. And the stuff that you see, the food you see, or the so-called food, is just disgusting. And people are happy to pay $30 a person for these brunches and just, you know, and think that they're getting some good deal when the hotel's buying the cheapest quality possible foods. But because it's a 5-star hotel, 5-star resort, and I've seen the best of them, buy the cheapest products and put it out. Okay? I've seen it happen over and over and over again. And because I've seen it happen over and over again, that's who I am today, because I don't want to do that to myself. I don't want to do it to my customers, and I don't want to do it to the environment. So demand better food, demand real food. Go to realtimefarms.com, dinegreen.com, and source out and ask questions. If you go on a website to a hotel, a resort, or a restaurant, and they're saying they're buying local, when you walk in, ask what foods are local. Ask what farms are from. Don't be afraid to ask. If they're going to list it on their website, because it happens again and again, these people are greenwashing. They're talking more than they need to talk, or they're talking more than they should be talking. Ask what's local. Ask where it's from. Call them ahead of time. I see you support local farms. I'm coming for brunch. I'm coming for dinner. Can you walk through me what exactly is local on your menu? And see what they say. You'll be surprised. A lot of them can't back up what they put on their website or on their menu. I'm Chef Marcus Giuliano. I'm a chef on a mission. Today's mission was nutrition. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, hit like, share it, subscribe, pass it on. Thank you very much.